You felt it. That subtle shift, the smile that didn't reach their eyes, the compliment that felt slightly sharp, the distance that appeared right after you shared something good about your life. You were open, you were loving, you were real, and somehow that made them colder. You walked away confused, asking yourself what you did wrong. But what if you didn't do anything wrong? What if your light exposed something in them they were trying to hide? I'm going to explain something today that may change how you see certain relationships forever. And later, I'll show you the exact moment envy begins to grow in someone who claims to love you. I'll also explain why the more you chase clarity, the more power you lose. But first, we need to understand something deeper. You are not too sensitive. You are perceptive. You feel shifts in energy because your nervous system is tuned in. When someone is happy for you, you feel warmth. When someone competes with you quietly, you feel tension. And when someone envies you but pretends to care, you feel confusion. Envy is not loud at first. It is subtle. It hides behind jokes. It hides behind advice you didn't ask for. It hides behind small dismissals. And because you are empathetic, you give them the benefit of the doubt. You tell yourself you are overthinking. You try harder. You explain more. You give more reassurance. And this is where the dynamic shifts. When you sense distance, your instinct is to close the gap. You text first. You call. You ask what's wrong. You try to fix what you didn't break. You believe love means effort, so you increase your effort. But chasing does not create security. It lowers your position. The more you chase, the less they respect the connection. That may sound harsh, but it is honest. When you chase someone who is pulling back, you communicate something without meaning to. You communicate that you are afraid of losing them. And fear changes energy. It changes posture. It changes tone. Suddenly, you are not relating as equals. You are seeking reassurance from someone who should be offering it freely. This is why silence feels so hard. Silence forces you to sit with uncertainty. It triggers old wounds. It activates that deep fear of abandonment. When you stop reaching out, your mind begins racing. What if they forget me? What if they move on? What if I lose them? The nervous system hates the unknown. It would rather chase than sit in discomfort. But here's the truth. Silence is not weakness. Silence is observation. When you stop chasing, you stop interfering with reality. You allow someone to show you who they are without pressure. You allow their effort or lack of effort to speak clearly. And clarity is power. I will explain later why envy grows strongest when you start pulling back instead of over-giving. But understand this now, silence reveals what chasing hides. You must learn this spine line and carry it with you. If they step back, you step up. Stepping up does not mean becoming louder. It does not mean punishing them. It means raising your standards internally. It means regulating your emotions instead of reacting to theirs. It means holding your ground when your instinct tells you to run after them. If they step back, you step up. Why? Because relationships reveal character under pressure. When someone feels envy, especially toward an empath, it creates discomfort inside them. Your calm confidence can feel threatening to someone who doubts themselves. Your emotional intelligence can feel like exposure to someone who avoids self-reflection. Your growth can trigger someone who feels stuck. Instead of addressing their insecurity, they may withdraw. They may criticize. They may compete subtly. And if you respond by chasing, you soothe their ego. You lower yourself to manage their discomfort. But when you respond with calm distance, something shifts. Silence creates a mirror. Now they must face their own feelings without your reassurance cushioning them. Now they must decide whether they value the connection enough to step forward. Silence removes the performance. It removes the illusion. It leaves only truth. And yes, it is uncomfortable. You will feel the urge to text. You will pick up your phone and put it down again. You will replay conversations in your mind. You will want to send one more message to clear the air. That urge is not love. It is anxiety seeking relief. If you give in every time anxiety speaks, you train yourself to abandon your own strength. Chasing feels active. Silence feels passive. But silence requires more discipline than chasing ever will. Chasing is emotional impulse. Silence is emotional mastery. There is another layer here that most people never talk about. When someone envies you, they often test your self-worth. They withdraw to see if you will scramble. They become distant to see if you will overcompensate. They want reassurance without admitting insecurity. If you scramble, they feel powerful. If you stay grounded, they feel exposed. And this is where you must decide who you are. Are you someone who negotiates your value when someone pulls away? Or are you someone who observes, stays steady, and allows actions to speak? You cannot control someone else's envy. You cannot control their insecurity, but you can control your response. And your response determines your position. Later, I will show you the exact psychological shift that happens in their mind when you stop chasing. It is not what most people think. It is deeper than they miss you. It touches pride, ego, and fear. But before we go there, you must sit with this first truth. When you chase someone who feels envy toward you, you shrink to fit their comfort. When you choose silence, you stand at your full height. And not everyone can handle that height, so breathe. Hold your ground. Let the discomfort rise without reacting. Because what you are building right now is not distance. It is self-respect. And self-respect changes everything. Now let's go deeper into what actually happens when you step back. When you stop reaching out, you interrupt a pattern. Human beings are wired to respond to contrast. When something that was constant suddenly becomes quiet, the mind notices. If you are the one initiating, soothing, checking in, and suddenly you are calm and still, their nervous system registers the absence. At first, there may be relief on their side, especially if envy was involved. Your distance can temporarily soothe their insecurity because they no longer feel compared, exposed, or measured against your energy. But that relief does not last long, because now something else appears: uncertainty. When you were chasing, they did not have to question your presence, you were proving it. Now, they must question it. And questioning activates reflection. Reflection activates awareness. Awareness can be uncomfortable. The psychology of stepping back is simple but powerful. When you withdraw effort without drama, you remove external validation. You create space for them to feel the consequences of their own behavior. And most people are not used to sitting with consequences. They're used to being accommodated. When you step back, you create emotional contrast. And contrast creates value. If they step back, you step up. Stepping up in this context means stepping into stability. You do not mirror their inconsistency. You do not punish. You do not perform indifference. You simply return to yourself. When you stop reaching out, several things begin shifting in their mind. First, curiosity. They wonder why the pattern changed. People are deeply affected by broken expectations. If they expected you to chase and you did not, their internal script no longer works. Second, ego. Their pride may whisper, why didn't they reach out? Are they losing interest? This can trigger a desire to regain control of the situation. Sometimes that control shows up as them reaching out casually. Sometimes it shows up as them testing you again. Third, fear. Fear of losing access. Fear of losing admiration. Fear of losing someone who understood them deeply. And here's the key: none of these emotions can surface if you keep chasing. When you constantly reach out, you numb their awareness. You protect them from having to feel the impact of their distance. But when you choose silence, you allow truth to rise. Silence is not manipulation. Silence is clarity. But let's be honest about something. The hardest part is not what happens in their mind. The hardest part is what happens in yours. The urge to text can feel overwhelming. Your brain will search for relief. It will tell you that one message will reduce anxiety. It will tell you that clarity is just one conversation away. Understand what is happening biologically. When connection feels threatened, your nervous system releases stress hormones. You feel restless, you feel distracted, you may even feel physical discomfort. Your body wants safety, and texting feels like action towards safety. But safety that requires you to abandon your self-respect is not real safety. So what do you do in that moment? First, delay the impulse. Do not fight it aggressively. Just delay it. Tell yourself, if I still want to text in 24 hours, I can. Most emotional impulses lose intensity when given space. Second, write the message in your notes instead of sending it. Say everything you want to say. Do not filter it. Then close it. This releases pressure without breaking your boundary. Third, regulate your body. Take a slow breath in for 4 seconds. Hold for 4. Release for 6. Do this 5 times. You are calming your nervous system, not suppressing emotion. Fourth, shift physical state. Move your body. Go for a walk. Do 10 push-ups. Clean your space. Action redirects anxious energy into strength. If they step back, you step up. Stepping up also means redirecting your daily focus. Instead of checking your phone, check your goals. Instead of reading old messages, read something that grows your mind. Instead of wondering what they are thinking, ask yourself what you are building. Envy often targets people who are evolving. So continue evolving. Structure your day around progress. Work on your body. Strengthen your finances. Deepen your friendships. Learn something new. Create something tangible. When your life expands, you do not shrink for anyone. You must replace chasing with creation. Chasing is reactive. Creation is proactive. Every time you choose not to reach out, you are reclaiming energy. That energy must go somewhere. If you leave it idle, it turns into rumination. If you invest it into growth, it turns into confidence. This is why stepping back is not about playing games. It is about realignment. It is about remembering that your value is not measured by how quickly someone responds. There is something powerful that happens when you stop performing availability. You begin to see who truly values access to you. The ones who care will lean in, the ones who are comfortable taking will drift. And both outcomes are information. If they step back, you step up. Notice how different that feels from panic. Notice how different that feels from chasing. It is steady, it is grounded, it is quiet strength. When you wake up each morning during this period, do not ask, will they text today? Ask, who am I becoming today? That single shift changes your posture. You are not waiting, you are building. And here is something important. Even if they do reach out, your internal stability must remain. Do not let one message reset your discipline. Consistency in your energy creates respect. Inconsistency creates confusion. You are not withholding love, protecting alignment. Silence gives you data. It reveals effort. It reveals priorities. It reveals emotional maturity. And it reveals whether envy is stronger than love. But before we move forward, you must understand one more thing about this phase. The goal is not to make them miss you. The goal is to see clearly. Because clarity, even when painful, is freedom. And in the next part, we are going to talk about what to do when the silence does its job. Whether they come back with new energy, or whether they stay exactly where they are. Now the silence has done its work, and this is where your strength is truly tested, because one of two things will happen. They will come back or they won't. And silence reveals truth either way. If they come back, you do not reward them with immediate access. You do not melt because your anxiety is relieved. You do not rush to recreate the old dynamic just because they reopened the door. You slow down, you observe, you listen more than you speak. Anyone can come back when they feel lonely. Anyone can send a message when their ego is bruised. What matters is not that they return. What matters is how they return. Are they consistent? Are they accountable? Do they acknowledge the distance? Do they show changed behavior, not just changed words? This is where boundaries become real. A boundary is not a threat. It is a standard you calmly maintain. You do not say, don't hurt me again. You say, through your behavior, access to me requires consistency. You set the pace. You do not text all day just because they started a conversation. You match effort. You stay warm but grounded. You remain open but observant. If they step back, you step up. Stepping up here means protecting your standards even when your emotions want relief. It means remembering that your value did not increase because they returned. It was always there. Do not ignore red flags because you are afraid of losing them again. Do not over-explain your needs. Speak them once, clearly, calmly. Then watch. Real interest rises to meet clarity. Immaturity resists it. If they are serious, they will respect your pace. They will invest. They will lean in consistently, not just intensely. And if they try to rush you, guilt you, or pull you back into the old imbalance, that is your answer. Silence reveals truth either way. Now let's talk about the other outcome. If they do not come back, if the silence stretches, if days turn into weeks, if the phone stays quiet, this is where dignity matters most. You do not break no contact just to soothe your pride. You do not send a closure message hoping it triggers a response. Closure is not something they hand to you. It is something you decide. Closure is accepting the data. They had space. They had time. And they chose not to move toward you. That is information. And information is power. When you accept it, it may hurt. Of course it hurts. But pain with clarity is cleaner than confusion with hope. You grieve privately. You feel what you need to feel. You do not shame yourself for caring. But you also do not chase someone who chose distance. If they step back, you step up. Stepping up now means expanding your life without them. It means redirecting emotional energy into growth. It means strengthening friendships, reconnecting with purpose, investing in your health, refining your vision. You move forward not because you stopped loving them, but because you started loving yourself more. Silence reveals truth either way. If they come back with maturity, you require alignment. If they do not come back, you require acceptance. Either way, you win clarity. Let's make this simple. When you chase, you lower your position. When you step back, you raise your awareness. If they return and show real change, you move slowly and protect your standards. If they disappear, you hold your dignity and move forward. You do not beg, you do not perform, you do not negotiate your worth. If they step back, you step up. Here is your one clear action step. For the next 30 days, commit to one standard: no chasing, no over-explaining, no double texting to convince someone of your value. If they reach out, respond with calm consistency. If they do not, stay focused on building your life. 30 days of discipline will teach you more about yourself than 30 conversations ever could. This is not about pride, it is about self-respect. You are not trying to win someone back. You are trying to win alignment. And understand this deeply: the right person does not need to be convinced of your worth. They recognize it, they protect it, they add to it. So stand still when others move away. Stay calm when others test your silence. Let your absence speak when your words were ignored. Silence reveals truth either way. And when you operate from that place, you do not look desperate. You look powerful. You do not look cold. You look centered. You do not look unavailable. You look selective. That is calm power. That is self-respect. And if this message resonates with you, watch the next video where we go deeper into how to build emotional detachment without losing your ability to love.